Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Bickford. Welcome to the latest episode of Carolina Rides as we continue to take a look at both local and regional aspects of area car culture. I do want to remind everybody that we do have a social media presence. All of these episodes get put up on our YouTube channel. You can find that at Carolina Rides, WSPA. We also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. You can see them right here. You will find not only after we do these episodes, we will be putting up the links to each episode that end up on YouTube. That link will go up on both Instagram and Facebook. But we've also got information that we'll post about area car shows and things like that. And of course, if you have any questions or if you have a good idea for a potential future episode or a future guest, we'd like to hear from you. No guarantees, but we're trying to get a good all-around look at what's going on across the area. So feel free to let me know, and we'll work on it. Now, today we are going to be talking Mustangs, and we have got with us from the Foothills Mustang Club, John Crabtree and Eric Hankinson. Thank you both for joining me today.
Nice to see you, Dan.
Well, let's just start with, obviously, the Foothills Mustang Club. Talk a little bit about the history, as best as you can tell me, about the club and how long you guys have been involved in it.
Okay. Well, the club started in 1979 in Greenville, and I joined in 2012. And I've been with the club since then and been an officer, and I'm currently on the board of directors, and I'm also the Mustang Club of America regional rep for Mustang Club of America. And so the club has ups and downs, and right now we're kind of halfway between down and up. So,
describe what you mean by ups and downs.
Well,
Is that in terms of just people who are getting themselves involved?
Exactly. As far as the number of folks that we have in the club, right now we have about 65 members, and we have had upwards of 130, and we've been down around 50. So right now, like I say, we're sort of halfway between high and low as far as our membership is concerned. I want to also say that the Foothills Mustang Club is the only upstate club that is associated with the Mustang Club of America. And also, as far as all of our charities and things that we do, we are recognized by the IRS as a 501c3 charitable organization. So if anybody donates money or services, they can reduce their taxes as a deduction.
Okay, Eric, how long have you been with the club?
I've only been with the club for almost 2 years. I was one of these people that decided right before retiring that I want to own a convertible, some sort of late 60s model, and spent about 4 years looking for something, and ended up buying basically a brand new one in 22. So right after I got that, my wife and I, we started looking at things to do, and I found the Foothills Mustang Club looking through the internet, and went to one of their shows, liked what I saw, and signed up for it, and then volunteered to take over their website, which has been keeping me busy. And then last fall I became a director, and I've been there, and we've been working hard ever since.
Now, John, you mentioned a little bit about the charitable organization part of this. Tell me some of the charities that you guys have worked with and some of the things that you may have coming up that deal with charities.
Sure. Well, one of our primary organizations that we support is the Service Dogs for Veterans in Greenville. We've had about 4 or 5 shows for their organization, and we've raised about $3,000 per show that we give to them. We've had several others. We have a show coming up in September that's going to support the Gibbs Cancer Center here in Spartanburg, and so we plan to have that. As you see, it's on September 21st, and it's going to be at the Wade Hampton Lanes in Taylor's. So they have a large parking lot, and they've helped us out several times now, and so that's where we are going to be supporting this our fall show. We have 2 shows a year, one in the spring and one in the fall. And so we believe that next spring show, we probably will go with the service dogs for veterans.
How many people do you typically get for your spring and fall shows? I mean, how big are these shows in general?
Well, I would say we probably get around 40 cars, which hopefully this podcast will be able to get our word out and try to pick up the number of cars that we get. There are so many car shows every weekend. It's a lot of competition. And the thing about our car shows, they are for all models, all makes. We want everybody to come. Sometimes our best of show has been Corvettes. And so...
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, because we've had a couple of people from a couple different local car groups on, and they always say that. I mean, they're never, when they have these big shows, especially for charities, it doesn't help anybody to shut people out of something like that when you're trying to raise funds. So, yeah, anybody and everybody is welcome to come on out.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. How, if somebody wants to join the Mustang Club, what do they need to do?
Eric?
Well, we have various options. You can go to our Facebook, and it'll tell you a bit about the club, but also on our website, we do have the ability to enroll into the club using your credit card and PayPal, and it goes through, and then we have the option, and we'll gladly take a personal check or cash if you want to meet us at one of our monthly meetings or one of our events. We can take it the old-fashioned way, but ever since we set it up where we have the online enrollment, we've picked up a lot of new members. A lot of members are renewing via the website. So that's the way it goes right there. And when they submit their application and their payment, John and I are immediately notified, and we then take it upon ourselves to reach out to them and welcome them to the club. I, as a webmaster, request pictures, and I take their pictures and post them on our homepage, what we call the Mustang Stable. And then we have a private member page where we will put more pictures on there, and we'll tell a little bit about the individuals themselves, their names and where they're located, and then more pictures of their cars. And a lot of people, they spend a lot of money on their cars, and they'll have a very lengthy description, but people like to brag about their cars. But in terms of the membership, we try to make it as convenient and as easy as possible.
Now, several car clubs, we've had multiple come through here now already. They always say, well, you don't necessarily have to have a fill in the blank to join the club. You guys run that way too?
We do, yes. As another club that I belong to, as long as you pay your dues, they don't care what you drive. And we don't care what you drive, or if you drive anything. As long as you have a passion for Mustangs, that's the kind of person we're looking for. And we have all age groups in our club. We have 19-year-olds, and we have some 77-year-olds that and older than that. So we have a full range of cars, everything from 64.5s to 24s. I don't think anybody's got a 25 yet, but we've got, actually, in our group right now, we have 8 24s in the group. So they're pretty popular here.
And one of the things we try to do too is like John says, we try not to make people feel like they have to have a showroom concourse edition car. And in our description we say, if it's a Mustang, it's a classic. We don't care the condition or the year. And I've run into people, well, my car's not good enough. I'm saying, look, it's a Mustang. That's all we care about. And I've sort of taken a different approach when I go to car shows and market the club, is that hey, Mustangs, if you become a member of our club, you're a member of a club that's around the world, one of the largest car clubs of enthusiasts. Mm-hmm. Plus, you get your picture on our website. You get a little sticker to put in the window. So even though you may not ever come to our events or come to our clubs, you can say you're associated with it. And as John says, we've got young people, we've got old people, we've got every car has a story, and that's the thing that I like to hear about when I go and talk to people or go to car shows, is everybody has a story about why they own their particular car.
Dan, the one car that we're missing in the club, if anybody has a Mustang 2, we
right.
need a Mustang 2 in the club. There's a lot of people say the Mustang 2 was not really a Mustang. but it continued the bloodline to today.
I had one for 2 years.
I don't know how many of them exist right now that would be, I guess, we would call driver quality as opposed to something that somebody's done something with.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You mentioned some of the charity events you guys have done. What other sort of events and club events do you guys take part in? Sort of things if somebody joins, what can they look forward to?
Eric?
Well, we have our monthly club meeting, which takes place at a different location every month, so that we have people. If you look at our map on our website, we have people all the way as far north as Henderson, all the way to Chesney, and then to Clemson, as far south as Waterloo, and everywhere in between. So we try to move that around, but gives people a chance to bring their cars and lets everybody see it for the first time. In addition, we have different cruise-ins where we may say, hey, let's go to this one. All of us, because we live all over the place, may know of a church or an organization that's having a cruise in, and we will advertise it within our medium to say, hey, let's try to meet up at this location. In addition, our sponsor, which is McCoy Ford in Honeypath, they have a cruise in once a month. We try to encourage people, both Mustang owners and anybody, to show up. And their last show, which was in July, they had quite a selection of cars there, from Chevy to Mopar to Fords. And then what we really like to do, and what seems to be real popular with our folks, is Christmas time. We try to participate in parades around the area, and we will show up and line up. And so far, all of them allowed us to gun the engines, and we say, let's make thunder in the valley. And it's really good, especially if you're downtown at the Greenville Parade and all of the buildings, and we all get to start revving our engines at the same time. The crowd gets a kick out of it, and us drivers as well.
Yeah, the kids are always on the sidelines yelling, rev it up, burn out.
Yeah, put Santa in a convertible and no one cares. Make
That's
all
right.
the noise you want, right?
You got it.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about just the enjoyment of Mustangs and what makes the Mustangs so special. Stay with Carolina Rides. We're coming right back. And welcome back. I'm Dan Bickford. Once again, we are joined by John Crabtree and Eric Hankinson from the Foothills Mustang Club. All right, now let's get to the root of really why you're club members. What makes the Mustangs so special?
John, you're the one that's been really involved in this. I'll let you start first.
The first time I saw a Mustang was on the front cover of Popular Science in 1964, the April issue. And boy, I got to have one of those. 48 years later, in 2012, I bought a 2010 Mustang. And it's just the camaraderie of all the people. The car itself is classic looking. It has changed over the years, but you see them, you know what they are. You can tell a Mustang from any angle. I love watching old movies, and I always point them out to my wife. Oh, there's one. So, oh yeah, see, these are the kinds of cars that we have. We have all manner of cars, and we like to, we talk about the mechanics of the cars, and I think the Mustang Club is why we get together, and the Mustang itself is the driving force behind it.
Eric?
Yeah, I back in high school, I started taking Motor Trend magazine back in 1967. Still a subscriber today, but you look through there, and they brought out the Mustang, then the Camaro, and then the Firebird, then the Mopar cars. But I always leaned toward the Mustang, and I bought my first Mustang in 1972. It was a coupe, white on white, with a V8 and automatic transmission, and pretty much nothing else. And about a year later, I ran into my future wife, and she was driving a 67 Mustang, white on white. And so both of them were sitting in front of our house, and we loved them. But living in West Virginia at the time, and the salt took their toll on the cars, and then the family started happening. So we eventually sold them, and over the years went through the sedan, then the station wagon, then the minivan, and then the SUVs. And then when we became empty nesters, I wanted to go back, and I spent quite a few years looking for what I wanted as a car, and I was looking at the Mustang, particularly the 69 and 70, because that was the time where they changed quite a bit in those couple of years, and it was before the big ones came out in 71. And in my position before I retired, I did a lot of traveling, and I spent a lot of time going out of my way to find cars. And finally I said, can't find what I wanted, so I purchased a brand new one, and ended up making it special, which is one of the things that's good about the Mustangs is, with 10 million of them produced over the life of the car, you got cars out there. If you want to, you can get into one for relatively cheap if you want an older one, or you can buy one, and with the thousands of aftermarket things out there, you can make them your own. That's why when you go to these car shows, you're looking, what has somebody else done with their Mustang? Or I like that, Ed, where did you get that? But so once you get involved, you're sort of hooked into it.
So that's one of the things that's always fascinated me concerning, obviously, there are millions of them that were made, and everyone has got their own little story. But when I see, if I'm watching auctions or seeing sale prices for some of these, particularly the 65, 66s, it's just mind-boggling, because you'll see them and you'll see one that's going for maybe $13,000, and you're asking yourself, why is that one only $13,000?
Right,
and the next one's like 34. It's like, well,
Right,
they
exactly.
both look great.
Yeah.
They do. And that's what I found is looks are deceiving until you get up close. Like I said, I spent 4 years going out, and I'd call the people up, oh, it's a cream puff, you can take this and your wife can drive to California with it. You don't have to do anything. So, I drive 2 hours out of my way and get there, and they show it to me. I'm saying, where's the car we talked about? Well, this is it. Then you found out that it's been photoshopped, or the rubber's all gone. You got to do all that. You got to put $10,000 into it before you can really drive it. And one of the things that I find interesting is everybody watches these shows on Motor Trend TV where in an hour episode they can totally rebuild this car, but they don't tell you how long it really took and how much it really cost. So people, you see these and say, well, I can get in pretty cheap. And then you get it home and find out, what do you mean, nobody knows how to work on a carburetor these days? Well, how much is this part going to cost, and how long is it going to take to get it? So, if you try to find one, you try to get one that, number one, meets your budget, but at the same time, you don't want to get one that becomes a money pit. And that's why if you get that sweet spot of, the later generations, you can still get parts relatively inexpensive. They can still work on them at your local Ford dealer, but you start going farther beyond that, then it does become an investment and a hobby that you got to be prepared for.
Well, what helps too is, at least with the Mustang, that's a car brand that, again, because it was common and there are so many people who have them, it's not as hard to find parts or aftermarket things for those cars. And plus, I'm sure with the club, if anybody has any questions or anybody's looking for something, you guys can always connect somebody to whatever they're looking for.
Correct. We try to help. And then we just got a sponsor earlier this year in Dallas, Georgia, and they rebuild cars. They do Mustangs, and there's like some of them you see on TV. You can bring it in if you've got a 67 that has a damaged fender. They can do that. If you want a complete rotisserie off the frame restoration, they can do that as well, but they're few and far between. And I'm hoping that these technical schools that are out there, like Swofford and some of these others, are telling people that are getting into car repair, it's nice that you know how to work on the ones with the computers, but you need to be able to work on one that needs a little bit of know-how of how, like I said, how to listen to the engine and tune it up and change plugs and all this other stuff that we're losing that ability out there.
Yeah, that's a big thing that I've been seeing a lot of. I don't know if you guys have seen the Haggerty Drivers Club magazine. Yeah, they've had some articles concerning a lot about getting the younger generation involved and people going to the trade schools and being able to work on these things, because there is certainly a market for it, and it's not something that is going to be, if you get into it, you're not going to be hurting, because the demand is certainly going to be there.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, you can go and get everything down to the nut and bolt. If you had the money and the time, you could build a 65 Mustang from scratch.
Yeah, I was going to say, IPD down in Florida, they can supply probably every part to build one from scratch.
They're even making electric versions of the old classic Mustangs now, if you really were wanted to get into that. Yeah,
that kind of leads me into, so if somebody shows up at a show with the club, any event, they're driving a Mach-E, is that open arm welcome, or
hey, if they got the money and they're proud of it, come on in.
We haven't seen one yet. No, we have not seen one yet, and they're shunned more than the Mustang too. So that was I always thought they should have called it a Galaxy E.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So,
And they still have the rights to that name. Ford does, I'm sure.
guess,
They wouldn't have, in the eyes of many, tainted a classic name. Although there would be people who would still think that,
Right.
that would have tainted the name. What's with both of you guys? What is your favorite generation of Mustang and why?
Well, myself, I had a 2010. In fact, you showed it just a moment ago, the red convertible. I think the 2010, the way that they made that car look like an early car, but it was modernized, and it was a wonderful car. So I like that middle generation. I think that's called the S97.
I can't keep track of
yeah,
them.
I can't keep numbers, the
Depends
S
on which
numbers.
what you see. They got the fifth generation is actually the 650 series, and it's really
Yeah, it's
confusing.
crazy.
With me, I liked, like I said earlier, I liked the 69 and 70 Mustang, and I was really looking for a 69, 70 Mustang convertible. The body styles, especially the front end treatment, there's enough differential that if you look at the 71, 72, and 73, they're real close. Same way with the 64, 65, and the 60. I just like the body style and everything. But like I said, they're harder to get. The more rare, the more expensive they are. But that I really like that generation.
All right, so we got both of you down as not mentioning the Mustang 2. Okay. Just wanted to make sure on that. But the Mustang that kind of brought the Mustang brand back after the Mustang 2 would be the Fox body Mustang, which lasted for many years. And we're really starting to see the prices of those coming up in recent years, too. There seems to be a lot of people who, and I'd be one of them, who grew up seeing a lot of those. That was kind of our generation, and that was kind of a car a lot of people wanted. I remember as a kid having the plastic model of the Indy Pace car version of one of those, and it's like, oh, that's cool.
I haven't. We have a number of Fox bodies in the club. They don't do anything specifically for me, but.
What was for both of you? Have you pre-Mustang? Did you have a big interest in cars, or was this something that you just kind of stumbled into and you're like, I like this car, I like this community?
Well, real quick story. I had a Volvo 240, and my realtor called me up one Saturday morning. She says, "Oh my God, John, I can't, my car won't start. Can you come and take a look at it?" So I went over. It was a wire broken, and she started it up, and off she went. She says, "You ought to have a business for doing that." So I opened up a Volvo repair business for about 12 years up in Massachusetts, and so that was what really got me involved in cars. And my grandchildren, my grandsons have always come over, and we work on cars together, and so it's great.
What about you, Eric?
Well, I actually got into cars very young. I spent all of my money I earned mowing grass and everything, go out and buying model cars. I probably had at one time close to 25, 30 model cars. Unfortunately over the years they eventually disappeared. But when I got old enough to buy my first car, I went out, looked at all of them, and went back to my first choice, which was the Mustang. And I've always liked the Mustang. There's other cars I've driven, I've liked. I mean, if somebody says if I could have all the cars back that I ever owned, they're shocked to hear that it's a 1977 Ford Thunderbird. But it's the first car my wife and I bought together, and I love that car. And
that was the generation of Thunderbirds that was really kind of large and luxurious.
It was, but it was also the first generation. Actually, when they downsized it to sort of compete with the Grand Prix and the Monte Carlos and everything else. And we had that car until, here again, our kids couldn't fit in the back seat, so we ended up selling it off. But yeah, I mean, I've always had a passion for cars, still do today. I've always told my wife, I said, if I ever won the lottery, we wouldn't buy a bigger house, but I'd need a much bigger garage.
John, what was your first car?
Well, actually, in high school, I drove my mom's 1962 Fairlane, but my aunt had a 62 Galaxy 500 XL with bucket seats and a transistor radio. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. So, but as I say, we've had the same Volvo. We bought a Volvo 245 wagon in 1976. We still have it. We take it to shows. We've had it for 48 years. It's got almost 200,000 miles on it, so it's just getting broken in.
Yeah, those Volvos are pretty much bulletproof.
They are, yeah.
One more time, kind of run through some of the upcoming Mustang Club events and some of the things you guys are going to be involved with here as we go through the rest of the summer and fall.
Well, we've got this Friday, tomorrow evening, there's a get-together for the Greenville Drive. One of our members actually works with them, and we have a member-only event that we have seats that are going to be reserved at a special rate, and a lot of other perks come with it. We've got Cruise In at McCoy Ford on August 15th, I think it is, a Friday. And then we're in the process of planning some other things. A lot of this stuff comes up, we just get together and say, hey, how about going for this drive? And we'll send a notice out there and say, anybody interested, show up at this place at this certain amount of time. We are working right now, though, we're concentrating on our September 21st car show. We have met with our charity. They're excited about it. We want to try to get a good turnout for that. And then, like I said, we're working on this other show in October. But a lot of our stuff just comes in, we may not get a whole lot of notice. Somebody will say, this is a good idea, or somebody may approach us saying, hey, how about getting together? And we also do things with other car clubs. Our sister club up in Asheville, they're putting together an event right now where they're going to have a representative of the Mustang Club Association magazine there to talk about certain things. So, we'll probably go up there. Then when we have something down here, they come down here. So I just encourage people to watch our Facebook for a post, our website for a post, because as soon as we know something's going to happen, we'll put it out there and try to get as many people interested and involved as we can.
Awesome. Sounds great. I'd like to thank both of you for joining me today. That is today's episode and this week's episode of Carolina Rides. Until next time, drive safely.
Thanks for having us.